Good evening and welcome to Whimsy Wednesday. Now I am spot on time, so just going to check that I'm actually in the right place. I must be. Here's Jackie. And Sharon. Feels like we were just talking to one another. I'm just trying to see whether I'm in the right page, but I guess I am. Can you hear me okay? Thank you very much, Sharon. Excellent. Aha, okay, so there I am. Great. All right. So, I am once again going to be creating for Global Design Project. Now I created for Global Design Project last week in my VIP group, and then I did not actually get to post my card for the challenge. Slack. Anyway, I'm again creating for Global Design Project. It's a colour challenge, and this time I'm determined I'm going to put my card up. Hello, Chrissy. How are you? That's excellent, Jackie. Fantastic. Great. All right, so the colour challenge, and I'll just grab the stamp set. We're using Beautiful Friendship, which is, I think, just about everybody's favourite stamp set. I'm going to flip you around so that we can see this the proper way. Oh, so wrong to be backwards. But this is this stamp set. Now I know that many of you have this one, and you will know that I use it frequently. It is beautiful. The Global Design Project Colour Challenge is, if I can get these around the right way. Excellent, Colleen. So we've got Old Olive, Lovely Lipstick and Smoky Slate this way. So they are the colours in the colour challenge. So if you want to head on over to Global Design Project and check out the gallery and maybe even enter a card. You bought it on the special day. That was a good move, Jackie. Yes, I think that was one of the top sellers, I believe, along with Birch, which is another one of the ones that we've been using lately. Yes, Sharon loves that stamp set. So I'm just going to show you the card first up, seeing as I have created it already. It's relatively simple, I guess. Am I still back to front? No, I better turn you around. So this is the card. So it's relatively simple. It's just putting all the little bits together. So you can see where I've used the Old Olive, the Lovely Lipstick and the Smoky Slate. And there's a few little techniques. I'm going to change this up slightly after I created this card. There was a few things I wasn't particularly happy with, and so I've worked out a way to maybe, hello Kylie, maybe worked out a way to fix those things. So let's see if I can improve on that card. All right, we've got a few people on and it is 8:04. So hello Barb, how are you? So in the interests of being quick, I'll move on over to the craft desk. So I've got some lovely purple tape on the back, I believe, tonight. Yes, so I'll just cart you all over. All you people sitting in my little phone here to the craft table. I'll flip you around while I grab all my lights. Now I've restructured my little my Archon mount today, and So I might just have to do a little bit of fiddling to get it in the right position. Sorry about all the jiggling. But aren't you glad there's tape on there? All right, let's see. Pop a little light on to start with so that when you do come in, you can see what's going on. One piece, two piece, another 5-minute card. Not really. This is probably what I would call an avid card. So you'll have to give me 7 minutes. No, just joking. It'll probably be, 57 minutes knowing Cheryl. So we'll just grab the other light. How's that looking light-wise? Now, it may be better if I actually do put this extra one on. We're so lit up here, it's unbelievable. That's what you've got to do when you haven't got a light coming in the window. Hello, Miss Peggy. I'm glad you're good, Barb. So, a little bit of housework. I did put, for my customers, I did put the rewards code for October, which we've only got tomorrow to go, in the description. And I've just got a little message. Margaret Lutner wants to be in my video. You want to be a star, Margaret? You can be a star in my video. So yes, one more day for the October rewards code, which is in the description of the video. But I did want to tell you that on the 1st of November, we have some new product coming. Now, I have been using this product during the month, but it is a suite of products. You can buy the whole lot, or you can buy each individual piece. So we've used it a couple of times, and it includes these two. This is 2 stamp sets. One's a line drawing, and one are all these distinctive style stamps. Now, they look a bit strange scattered all over the place, but when you put them together, they actually make this image in like a watercolor textured look. Or you can stamp over the top of this one with different colors. But either way, you can cut both of those out with the die, the big die here in the die set. Now, you can get the 2 stamps set. The 2 stamps are in 2 cases, and they are one set. And you can get them bundled with the dies for a 10% discount as per normal. And then, of course, there is this gorgeous paper which we have been using in classes on the weekend. And again, there is a beautiful big flower image that you can cut out. I did have it out this afternoon. That you can cut out. This one's got some extra bits added on top, but you can cut that out of the designer series paper using the die as well. So lots of different options with this bundle of products or suite of products. You can get the little glitter, the gold glitter dots separately, and you can also get the gold shimmer ribbon separately, or you can just get the whole lot, including the little bracelet. So there are different options. These will all be on the website on the 1st, which is not tomorrow, but Friday. New month coming up very quickly. So that's the Christmas time is here suite. Those products will only be available while supplies last, and that's sort of an unknown quantity right at the moment. So, okay, let's grab our gear and get started on this card now that I've done all my housekeeping. Trying to be a good little marketer for once. All right, so this is the card. Now, when I stamp with this, the ink, the lovely lipstick, no way. Yeah, that just means that they're coming on, Margaret, that they're coming on live, the green. And then I believe it goes back to grey. I think the comments go back to grey after everyone sort of comes in initially. And then if you have a bad internet connection, you'll drop in and out. So you'll see people coming back in again with the green. I should have pressed yes. That would have given you a shock. We probably would have seen your toes, Margaret. Yes, it does say Jackie McGee is watching. It'll say, I think, people that maybe you're friends with are watching. I think that's how it works maybe. Anyway, so this is the stamp set. It's photopolymer, for those of you who don't have it. And as you can see, I have used it very well already, especially using lovely lipstick, which tends to stain the photopolymer. It doesn't affect the quality, but it does make everything go pink. Right, I'll get rid of my cord here so I'm not which I untangled today. How good's that? Okay, and again, the Global Design Project is a colour challenge. It's, let's turn them up this way. Old Olive, Lovely Lipstick and Smoky Slate. You can tell I'm a very messy stamper. So I'm making a large card. This is actually made with someone special in mind. It's a large card. It's 14 centimetres by 14 centimetres square once it's folded. So that's 280 by 140, and then you fold it in half. So you're basically having to use a whole A4 sheet of paper, and then you've got little extra bits you can put in your scrap bucket. So we've got the base card I've done in Old Olive. That's one of the challenge colours. I'll flip it over because I've got something on there. I've just put oil on my cream on my hands. So I have cut some inside bits already. So I've got a smoky slate layer and a whisper white layer that will go on the inside. And for the outside I have a whisper white layer. Now I did have the measurements written down here in centimetres. So this one was 140 by 100 or 14 by 14 centimetres, so this would have been 100. 13.5 by 13.5. I'm working in millimetres. So that's 13.5 centimetres by 13.5 centimetres. Then I've got a grey layer, which I actually cut to make a really fine white border. So it's 13.2 by 13.2. So that then gives you a very fine, very delicate, hello Rel, how are you? A very fine, delicate white matting layer around the smoky slate layer. So we'll do the smoky slate layer first because it does need a little bit of drying time. Now I have just realised that I haven't brought my Big Shot in, so I'm just going to have to go out and grab that. 1 second. Oops. Right, that was one of my plates crashing to the ground. Okay. So the first, I'll get rid of all this so we can do this. So I'm going to emboss this one with the Pine Planks embossing folder. It's a 3D embossing folder. So we will need our Big Shot. I haven't zoomed in, so we should fit. The base plate and one clear plate. This is an old style embossing folder before the new range of dies came out. Hello Natalie. You can tell because they have Sizzix on them. You can tell that they're the old style and they'll only need a regular clear plate. If you've got any of the new style, you'll either need to add more shim or you'll need to grab yourself one of the blue embossing plates. That comes from Stampin' Up. So we're just going to put this in here. I'm not going to bother spritzing it or anything like that. I'm just going to pop it in the folder and try and line it up so it's relatively straight, which can be a little bit tricky to see, but hopefully we'll get it right. I'll just flip that over. Let's flip it over and work from the back. So if you line it up with the lines on the planks, you should be fairly right. That looks pretty good. Let's do it. So hinge first on the base plate and then the clear plate over the top. And roll it on through. Now I believe that's the only time I'll need to use the Big Shot tonight. Okay. So we've got this gorgeous pine planks and I'm going to use the indented side, so I want it to look like real planks. This has got a raised layer in between and this one has the indented layer in between. I'm going to use my Whisper White layer. 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 I'm going to use my ink pad. Now this is a craft ink, so it's wet. I'm basically going to lime wash my planks. I thought they were a little bit harsh. So this is technically probably cheating because I'm now changing up the colour of the smoky slate, but I'm justifying it in that you can still see some smoky slate once I've done this. So I'm just going to get my pad to start with, and I'm glad that you're watching Miss Perfect. So have you got this embossing folder, Barb? Pine planks. So I'm just lightly, not very heavily, dragging my white ink pad across those planks, and you can see it picking up the pattern. Now it looks a bit messy through the camera here. I'm not sure what you can see, but from here it looks a little bit messy, but we'll see in a minute. All right, and so I've got a little sponge here that I'm using, and I'm just going to pick up some of the white ink, and now I'm going to smooth some of those areas. It's quite wet, this ink, it's a pigment ink, so you can smooth it around quite a bit. I'm going to smooth out some of those areas where it was a little bit heavy and where it's made a few lines. This will fade back. The white ink always seems to fade back quite a bit. So if it's looking a little white in some areas, don't stress too much because it will fade back. I love these knotty bits. I'll bring it up a bit closer so you can... I love how the knotty bits show up really well once you add some colour over the top. You can do this with a darker ink as well if you want a darker ink. You can make some quite funky colours if you liked. So there, I've just lime washed my pine planks to go behind my floral. So that is quite sticky, but we are going to take a little while, it's all over you, we are going to take a little while to stamp up our flowers now. So I'll put it aside and hopefully it will dry. Hello Bridget. We're just doing a little bit of home renovating and lime washed some smoky slate pine planks embossing for the background of our card. So it is quite sticky, so I will just pop it over here out of the road and hopefully it will dry a little bit for us. Now the panel on the front of this card, oh I've forgotten to cut, oh we'll be able to use the trimmer because I've forgotten to cut the grey layer. The white panel is the width of the grey layer, which was 13.2 centimetres, and the grey, and 7 centimetres this way, and then the grey layer underneath is 7.5 centimetres by the 13.2 centimetres. So I'll just grab some smoky slate. I might as well get that out of the road now, and we will use, do I have a single panel here? Yes, and I'll use the new trimmer, which is also going to be available to customers on the 1st of November. So this is the new Stampin' Up trimmer. And I'll just check that I've got enough. Yep, okay, so I've just got a panel of smoky slate cardstock. And we said 13.2, which is roughly there. You just plop that down and then just very lightly, you don't even have to push down, I just push the blade up and it's cut it. Just checking that there's no edges, that's all pretty good. And then this way it was 7, no it wasn't, it was 7.5, the white is 7. So the blade goes, some of you, I know some of you cut at the bottom, I always cut at the top. Quite a few of you cut at the bottom. It doesn't make any difference because it should be identical top and bottom. Thank you, Bridget. Right, so now I've got my background layer and I've got a white layer cut to 7 by 13.2, so hopefully that will fit onto there and leave just a fine, well it's not as fine, but a border of grey. So stamping wise, I've lost my, here it is. this has white ink all over it now, so I'm just going to take the top layer off so I don't get white ink over everything. So we've got our little panel of white card. It looks so small considering that it looks so large on the front of here, but it's the same size. So I've got the beautiful friendship. Now I'm going to mostly stamp with just, with just blocks tonight. We will do this, use the Stamparatus for one part, and that is the greeting. And I'm just going to bring that in now. Now I just want to get the greeting in exactly the right place. This is, oh, I've got two. This is a photopolymer set, so we'll use the black matte. This is the one with the grid on top. I'll butt my photopolymer sheet up into the corner. I'll bring this over so you can see it. And we're going to use a very big congratulations and best wishes to you. So we'll just pop this down here somewhere. You need to make sure that this is butted tightly up into the corner for this to work, otherwise it won't work. Right, and we're going to stamp an index image with memento. We'll also be using memento on the card. So ink up your stamp. It doesn't really matter how perfect this is for the index image, but it's a good method to see how it's going to stamp, whether you need to ink some areas more than others. That looks pretty good. So now bring in our little white panel, and whoops, oh, I keep sticking to my Archon mount. Now don't worry about all this that's on the actual thing. I'm just going to line this up here up close because I need to do it properly, not through the phone. So I'm just lining that up. So I'm holding that in place now, putting this back down and butting this corner up. Hold all that in place and then pop the magnet down onto the card. So now we know that when we stamp that, it's going to stamp in exactly that spot. So for those of you who haven't seen me use the photopolymer sheet, it's like a big Stampin' There are various different ways that people position their stamps on the Stamparatus. This is just the way I do it. Oops, and I can see, I don't know if you can see, but the S hasn't come out very well, so we'll just quickly pop that back down. And we've got a very big congratulations and best wishes to you, exactly where I wanted it on the card. Now this is photopolymer, so you could have quite easily done that with a block, but I probably would not have got that S fixed. That didn't come out correctly, and that's the beauty of the, where are all my cloths? That's the beauty of the Stamparatus. I hear a lot of people who come to class and on my lives say they've got a Stamparatus, but it just sits on the shelf. I totally do not understand why. You need to get it out and put it on your craft desk. And even though initially this seems like a lot of hassle, probably more hassle than just grabbing the block and stamping it, the end results for your cards are going to make so much, it's going to make so much of a difference. And once you get the hang of it, it becomes second nature, and you will wonder how you ever stamped without it. Sometimes it is good to just use the blocks so you don't lose confidence with that method of stamping. And tonight is a good example because we're going to use blocks now for the rest of this image. So I'll pull out all the stamps. We're going to use this hydrangea type image, the big flowers, that's 2 flowers together, and then the single flower, the little double flower. We'll also need the centers. I'm just going to put them all out up here. The spray of something, whatever that's a spray of, foliage or leafage or flowers or whatever, and the 2 little leaf stamps. So most of the stamps we're using, there's only the 3 greetings left in there. It is very hot here tonight. We had quite a hot day, and I was hoping that the weather would get better, but it hasn't. It is still very hot. We're expecting a cool change tomorrow, thank goodness. All right, so the very first stamp that I'm going to put down is, I'm going to position the very big flower, and that will need, what block's this one? This is an E block, so it's quite a large. I don't think it quite fits on the next size down, not straight anyway. So we're going to use Lovely Lipstick. That's one of the challenge colours for Global Design Project. And we will ink this up. Now when I stamp this, it looks very red when you first stamp. I know, Bridget, it's quite cool in this house here, really, but today, just tonight, it's become quite hot. Maybe I'm just, you know, having a little senior moment at my excitement at doing this live. But I was quite comfortable before. I even cooked dinner with long sleeves on. But now it's a little bit, starting to get a little bit hot in here. All right, so I've inked that up. Now just make sure that you ink it up really well. It's quite a forgiving stamp, and I want to get this little indent here around the greeting and slightly on an angle. It is quite a forgiving stamp. You don't want to miss too much of it, but it's quite forgiving if you do accidentally happen to miss a little bit. It could be my lights too, because I'm standing here. If I should take a photo, except I can't because my phone is being used. But I can see the reflection. There's a heap of flying ants on my window outside. There must have been a little swarm somewhere. Masses of them. They're starting to come through. If you see things flying through here, it's little flying ants. Obviously had a little bit of a hatch in the warm weather. Okay, I'll put that aside for the moment. Now, I want to stamp the single greeting, so I'll just get some blocks out for these stamps. Not the single greeting, the single flower onto the other side, like so. Again, using Lovely Lipstick. And just at a little bit of an angle and slightly over. I want to sort of make it look like this one, similar. Pop that down there like that. And so now we've got a little grouping of 3. I'm not cleaning these as I go, I'm just putting them up there. So remind me if I... Then we've got these little, might use slightly bigger one. The little double flowers. Now, the little double flowers are a little bit, they've got these stems on them. I don't really want the stems to show. So I'm going to, and I want them to look like they're in the background. So I'm going to ink this up. Then I've got a cloth here, and I'm just going to wipe off the base, those stems, wipe the ink off. Now I could do this with my chamois, but I did find that it made the photopolymer just a little bit wet, and then the ink changed. It sort of ran when it touched this ink. So I'm just dry wiping it off. Then I want to stamp it off, and you can see that the stems are not there anymore. And then I'm going to stamp this down into here. And so it's slightly lighter because it's stamped off, so it doesn't compete so much with the front image. Now I'm going to do that again and put this over here. So again, ink it up, wipe the stems off. A lot of this image that I'm going to stamp is going to go off the page, but it's about making it look a little bit continuous. So I'll just stamp that there. And you can see where the stems are. That would have looked very odd across the middle of the flower. So there we've got some lighter flowers in the background. So I'll pop that one up there. Now, when I did the next part of this image, I just kept stamping all of the elements around. after I finished it, I found that I really didn't like the way that this has gone over the top of the flowers here, because the black's such an intense ink. There's a few other places where it's gone over things that I didn't really like, which is why I've added so many other elements to it to hide some of that. So I decided that I would try and mask this time. So for masking, I've stamped the floral images and cut them out. And I've stamped them onto a post-it note. But normally a post-it note only has the sticky stuff at the top, but you can get them where they have the sticky all over the back now. So I've got some of that I use for masking, so that the whole thing will sit down on the flower. Now the only thing is here is you need to make sure that it's all totally dry. So I'll just flick that over. It should be, but you know. Yep, that all looks pretty good. Oops, here's a flying ant come to visit me. It's my own fault. I took all the quarter round off the, we've got a very old house and it had a lot of quarter round around the bottom of my craft room, and I hated it because I couldn't butt any of the furniture up against the wall, so I pulled it all off. And of course the quarter round was hiding a little gap between the floor and the wall. So now I have things get in. Flies and mozzies quite often come in. Now I'll need one for over here, so we'll just grab this. I wonder if I've got any left from this morning. I don't have to waste a whole sheet. Oh look, I've got one stamped already. Bonus. I wondered why I stamped two. Now I know. Alright, don't mind this mess. This is out of my rubbish bin. I'll just get rid of all this. But I stamped another one and I couldn't work out why. Now I know why. So I'll quickly trim this out. So we're going to cut the stem off. And when you cut a mask, if you cut just inside the line of the image, this paper is very thin, but even that tiny little bit of thinness or thickness will create a little halo around the image when you're stamping over the mask. So if you can cut just inside, and don't worry too much about that, then it seems to work a little bit better. Pop that down. Will I worry about this one? No, won't worry about that one. We'll leave that one. All right, so now I've got my image safely masked off from whatever I do next. The next bit is the background. I'm using smoky slate and the hydrangea image, which I don't think I've used to create a hydrangea flower since I've had this stamp set. Mainly just use it for cool background textures. So just go all around, and now that I've mastered, I don't have to worry so much. I can just go over everything and just stamp a background. I might try and knock it over that one I didn't mask. It looks pretty horrendous with this bright yellow bit here, but it will look lovely when I take the mask off. And then I sort of want to frame this greeting but not go over it too much. There is a lighter part somewhere here. I think it's that part. Yep, cool. Okay, so I'll just pop a little bit down there. Okay, so that's created a little bit of a background. I so want to pull this mask off and show you what it looks like because it's so cool, just with the background around it. But anyway, we'll wait and do the big reveal at the end. So that's it. Oh no, it's not. We'll have to do the rest of the lovely lipstick when I'm finished because I've got a stamp underneath the mask. We'll do that when I'm done. Next part is the leaves and the sprigs or the sprays. Now, it doesn't really matter which one you do first, but I might do... No, I'll do the leaves first so I know where I'm putting them. It's not going to matter. The black's going to show through the green leaf no matter whether you do it over the top or not. So I'll need a couple of blocks for the leaves. 1 and 2. And then it's totally up to you where you stamp stuff. Hello, Sandra. But I'm happy knowing that I'm not stamping over my flowers now. So this is the old olive that is part of the challenge. Can't quite remember where I'm supposed to be stamping these, but we'll just wing it. Doesn't really matter because you can cover over what you don't like. I'll do some more small ones. A couple in the back here. Right. Now we'll just stop for a moment. I can always add some more later. Let's pop those out over there out of the road and bring in the black ink. Now I'm being very careful that I close my inks up because I had a bit of a disaster today. I'll show you later because I kept it. So this is for the sprig. I wonder if this sprig might need this one. Let's clean this leaf off. So I'm using the Memento black. Now I wasn't going to originally use the black, and I could pull this off and show you, but it looked a little bit boring with just the flower and the leaves and the texture. So I thought about it, and you're allowed to add black, white and a neutral, so black it was. Right, so we'll oh, it's so much nicer having the mask and I don't have to worry about whether I'm mucking this up or not. You can see I've been quite heavy-handed with the black. Probably something's going to need to go there. Put that in there like that. Right, that might be enough black. We are going to add some more after, so that might be enough. Let's leave it at that for the moment. I'll just clean this off. We'll pull the mask off and see how we go. Now, oh, shouldn't have done that. I need to do some more of those, but that's okay. So that's about it. If you've just come in, isn't this adorable, this image that I've just created? Not. Sandra has just come in. She's probably thinking, what is this girl doing? All right, while I've got this out here, I do need, and I forgot to do this earlier, so I'll do it now. I do need some extra black sprigs, whatever these things are called. Probably 3, and I am going to have to fussy cut these. I'm sorry, I did all the leaves, but I didn't do these. So I'll pop that over the road for the minute. You will also need a heap of the smaller leaf and some of the small one that this will fit on, maybe, yes. Some of the 3-pronged leaf. Now see, I nearly did it again. Shouldn't leave my ink pads open. It's pretty disastrous when you put your green leaf stamp into your black ink pad, not notice, and stamp onto your project. So you'll need a lot of those. So I'm just doing 2 because I have done them all previously this afternoon, so you didn't have to watch me fussy cut, but I forgot the black leaves, so I'll have to do that now. I don't know why I'm bothering to clean those. Oh, I'll need them. Do you notice that I just chat away to myself? Thank you very much, Chrissy. That's lovely. Just what I need to happen. Thank you. cut. So I'll quickly do these leaves and then we'll... So I am not being too fussy with them. Just vaguely following the line of the leaf, doing a little bit of a scissor wiggle. I have noticed that lately I've been doing a lot more fussy cutting than I ever used to. We've got so many beautiful dies and punches, but I still seem to be bringing out the scissors quite a bit. And I have noticed that my fussy cutting is improving, which is a good thing. But I'm not too particular about it, I must admit. That's two. And one more. The leaves are very easy to fussy cut. Oh, there's an ant. Practice does make perfect. Well, sometimes. Sometimes you've seen what I can do after many, many years of practice. Certainly wouldn't call it perfect, but you know. Okay, that's my three. And then you go ahead and fussy cut those. They're very easy. I was going to show you, but now that I've taken so much time doing those. So I have actually gone through and already stamped and fussy cut a heap of leaves. You probably don't need that many. I just did a heap while I was there because I had no idea how many I would need. So I just did a heap. So I've got a heap of leaves and some of the black sprigs to play with. Okay, so now let us do the big reveal here. We'll start to pull these masks off. And you can keep these, put them inside your stamp case, and then you've got them for next time. They stay sticky for quite a while. So I'm sure you're breathing a sigh of relief, Sandra, that I'm not doing bright orange flowers. I shouldn't be lazy. I should get my proper tool out. You can see they stick really well. Almost too well. And there we go. Now if I get rid of this yucky old thing I've been stamping on, that's very pretty. And the last thing I'll need to do on here is to add the centers to the flowers. This single flower already has a center in it, in the stamp. The other two don't. They have separate centers. So I'll just stamp those on with lovely lipstick to match. And I'm liking this a lot better. It's standing, the flowers are standing out so much more effectively without the black coming in over the top. It does look like it's in behind. Yes, yes. Exactly, Sandra. I thought, if anyone comes in and sees this, they're going to be horrified. All right, so that's it. For that, we can actually go ahead and start to put this card together. So we've got the grey border to go behind that. So I'll just quickly put a little bit of glue. And I've got a little bit too much glue here. Don't really want to get my fingers inky. Here's a piece of paper. Scooch that in a little bit. So I probably never would have used black. I probably would have come up with some other colour for those leafy sprig things. You think I'd come up with the proper words, wouldn't you? But the colour challenge for Global Design Project forced me to do something that I would not normally have done, and I think it looks very effective. So that's laid on there. Now we will put some baker's twine around that. Now originally I did use the spotty tape because it was lovely and romantic and soft. However, it covered up too much of the flowers and took away from the other elements on the card, which is supposed to be the feature of the card. So I took it off and I just put on the much finer and more subtle plain old Whisper White baker's twine. I'll probably cut way too much there. So I'll just wrap this around, tie it in a knot. Do a little bow. Now this bow gets in the road for the next bit, and I'm sorry, but I couldn't think of any other way to do it. It needs to be done beforehand, and we just have to work around it. Now you could stick a little glue dot under there to hold it in place. I haven't, but I may do afterwards. Yes, that's correct. And I suppose that's why they're called a challenge. Now we'll get rid of some of this excess twine. Okay, it could probably be a little bit smaller even still. Right, now where are the rest of my elements? So let's see how dry. Oh yes, that's dried up nicely. It's not sticky anymore, yay. So I've got my old olive card. So this one needs to go across here like this, so we'll stick it down first. Just in case, well it's too late because I put the twine on, so I can't even trim it off if it's not quite the right size. So we'll just run with it. So in that instance, too late, I can do it this way. I was going to put that layer on first and then trim off any excess, if there was any mismeasurement. But too late, I'll put the string on. Can't fix it. Let's just run with it. Now remember, this was a fine white border. Glue lets you jiggle it about a bit. And onto the card front. Oh, good. Did you get that on the special day, Bridget? It is almost addictive, this stamp set. You can create your own pattern paper. It is a gorgeous set. So now we're set to put this layer, because originally I did have the white layer on its own and it really needed a border. I really didn't want to sponge the edges, so that's why I've put the grey behind it, and I think it just helps it stand out a little bit without introducing yet another colour. Oh, I'm not supposed to put this on yet. Oops, nearly mucked it up. So don't let me put this down, we just need to position it. Right, so now, actually I might take, she'll be right. I won't muck it up. Oh. We need to put a couple of these black sprigs underneath. So I'm just going to work out where I'm going to stick those. So something like that. Oops. something like that. I'll remember that, I think. Okay, it's only the two, so we'll be fine. Just roughly remember where they go, and you don't need much glue. Isn't it weird? It's like when someone tells you a phone number. I have no memory retention. Oh, good. Good. Yeah, that was a bit, I think that was one of the best sellers, and it was too good a bargain to miss. The other one was birch. It was another one of the top sellers, and that's one that we've been using a bit lately as well. Yeah, hopefully something like that. Before that gets too stuck down, I better check it. Yep, that'll be fine. So now I can glue this down. It was just those couple of pieces that I wanted to be underneath. And then this can go down like that. Okay, now you could just leave it like that. Oh, we're going to put a few leaves on here. I added a few more leaves around the place on my card to give the whole thing a little bit of extra texture. You'll see there's, might be a bit hard to see there, but there's quite a bit of extra. You can see where I've mounted things up, and it does give it quite a textural feel. So we'll see how we go. I designed as I went along with the other one, so we'll sort of do the same here. See if it works. All right, so that one can go there. We need another little bit of extra. This one come out of here. That one behind there, something like that. No, it can go over the top. All right, so this one can go down. Now I'm leaving the ends without glue because I'm going to put some dimensional in there when I'm done. So we'll just pop that in. Again, this one I'm going to put dimensional underneath, so you only really need... Hello Jewel, how are you? So you only really need a little bit of glue on the ends. Pop that up there. And then down the bottom, we need a few leaves down there as well. And then just maybe trim off. You can do this afterwards. I did it afterwards last time, but it was a little tricky. So this time we'll try and trim off one leaf beforehand. And that can go on there like that. And again, I'm going off the page, aren't I? Again, just some glue on the bottom of the leaf in case we decide to pop up, which we probably will, the end leaf. So we're just extending the pattern of flowers outside the rectangle, just on one side. Could also use glue dots for this. Still recuperating. Wow. I hope you're on the way to recovery now. It's not going to stretch on for too much longer. This is Beautiful Friendship. Where is it? This one. You haven't got that one? It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and it is very... I'm just going to grab a pair of tweezers so I don't get glue totally all over me. And it is so addictive. Now I am going to need to cut a little bit of the end off these. That one in there. Then we need some more up in here. Now last time I put one over here because I'm not going to do that this time. Oh, I suppose I could because this has been cut off, and that's what I was trying to achieve. So what we'll do is just going to play around with this one just a little bit. I just don't, now that I've separated out my flowers, I really don't want to cover them over with excess leaf. So actually we'll do this. Look, just cut that one off. Then I've got this one which will then stick out above the level of the rectangle. It's going to be a bit fiddly. A little bit of glue. That down there like that, and then I've got one here which I do want to pop up. That's going to go in there like that. So a little bit of glue in the bottom leaf. Oh, that's a bit much glue. And then one in here where the black's gone over the leaf. Oh, who else had a frozen shoulder? Oh, my sister. My sister had a frozen shoulder recently. She's been in pain for a long time, but they wouldn't do the surgery for her. Right, and then over here, this one's got a little bit of the black over the green leaf, so we'll do another one there, and this one can be just flat. Now, I'm just going to trim those ends off. This is what I call designing as you go, because I don't want to cover up those petals. And then the very last one, because this it's going to have so much dimension over here, I'm going to add some dimension here. Now this one was a little tricky. That's not a very nice, I'll use this one. It's a bit fussy cut, a little bit better. So this one I'm going to actually pull out my glue dots, if I can find them. There. Put a couple of glue dots down on this. And then on this one I'm going to start to add in some of the mini dimensionals. Now I'll need a take the top off. So this leaf is going to be popped up slightly. These leaves are going to be flat. So get that in the right position. And again, I'm going to just cut off this little edge. It's only a little thing, but it makes a big difference. And then we'll just pop some dimensionals under some of these other bits, which hopefully will have dried by now. And that's just going to lift some of these leaves up a little bit. and give the whole card a little bit of dimension, and then this one needs to be trimmed off there like that. This one. And some of the ones up the top. Pop that one in there. What else? This one could do with a little bit of zhuzhing up, and then this one as well. Tuck them right in under. Right, so that's just added. Now I'm going to put a little bit under, not the one that I've laid flat, but this one here. I've got one left, I think so. There, and that's just giving it a little bit of extra. Might need a glue dot under this silly bow, which doesn't seem to want to stay in the right spot. Right, let's clean up a little bit so we can show this card off without all the mess in the background. So that is it. Oh, I've been missing all the comments. Now, what is the white bit sticking out of the top right of the card? Oh, I think that was just a bit here that I'd cut off somewhere. Was it like that? Yeah, that was just a bit that I'd cut off. And oh, you haven't got this one, Barb. It is a gorgeous set. So that's my challenge card using Lovely Lipstick, Old Olive and Smoky Slate. And even though I've whitewashed the Smoky Slate board, you can still sort of see that it's Smoky Slate. And I've used the Smoky Slate in here. And so this was the original, and I do think that the flowers stand out so much better having masked them, so that the black, see where they cover over here, really bugs me. But now they're all in behind because I masked it. So I really like this one with the masking. So I will have to take some photos. Now I did want to show you that I have done an inside for this one. So it is exactly the same. I've just put a little bit on down in the corner in exactly the same fashion. I did mask this one because by that stage I'd worked out what to do. So you can see it looks much better masked. Thank you, Sandra. Yeah, that's probably sometimes not such a good thing, but I am more of an avid crafter and I do have trouble stopping. I did also, because this is a very large card, it would need a large envelope. So I did, now this is where I went a bit wrong today, and I'll probably have to fix this because I won't be happy with it. But I'd made an envelope out of a big 12 by 12 sheet of Whisper White cardstock and the envelope punch board, which is no longer with Stampin' Up, but you can still get them, and most of us still have them. So I made one out of that, and I put the little flowers just on the back and down the front. But you can see I had my black ink pad open at the same time as my green ink pad, and I stamped some black leaves. So then I had to stamp a black leaf up here to make it look like I'd meant to do it, but I hadn't really. It's also a bit wonky because I actually stamped these on after I'd put the envelope together. So a hint might be to actually do your stamping prior to gluing the envelope together, and then you won't get these little marks. And an ant's just gone down my back. Ah. One of those flying ants. All right, so that's the envelope that can then go in. It's going to be a hand-delivered card, so that's all fine. I don't have to worry about damaging the post or anything. Oh, sorry girls, have you been able to hear me? I just realised I've had my the cloth that I was wiping my stamp off with over my shoulder and over my microphone. That's probably a lot better now. So that's my card for this evening, which I am determined to get up in the Global Design Project. So I'll photograph it tomorrow and blog it. Thank you very much for coming along. You would have never known the mistake, this one, with the black dead leaves in the background. No, I put those in there. It didn't look too bad, but I'll probably do another one. You know what I'm like. So I'm going off to have dinner. Duncan's been digging in the garden till... You heard you okay? Well, that's good, because I just realised I had the tea towel over it. I will see you. It is a morning time slot for Aussies next week, so it'll be the reverse. So every second week will be the reverse. That's just to not put quite so much pressure on my husband and dinner and all the rest of it. And also just to give everyone a little bit of a chance in different time zones to actually come on live. So thank you very much, ladies. We will see you next week. No VIP live tomorrow for my VIP live girls. That will be next week as well. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend and the rest of the week. Thanks, ladies. Bye.